Welcome
Ah,
back to the Windy City Wire podcast. My name is Sam Tenaglia. I'm glad to be back for another edition. I think we were off last week, but we got another Bears loss to talk about. We're all really frustrated. The Bulls won yesterday. The Blackhawks are playing all right, and Antonio Brown is currently at Mar-a-Lago hanging out with Donald Trump. So, uh, what a world we live in. I'm glad to be here and joined by Kevin O'Malley and James Morisi. Great to see you guys back on another episode.
yep, good to be back. Real exciting bear stuff we got to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's that's James puts it nicely there. It's a big sigh and a oh boy, what the heck are we doing? So, the Bears played at home where they have won 4 games out this year so far, and they had won 8 straight home games. Bears brought the Patriots to town and pretty much didn't even show up. It was a shit show on offense. The defense wasn't that great either, but they were the only part of the team that actually looked alive. The stats, just going into it right off the bat, Caleb Williams, 16 of 30, 120, no interceptions, no touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 16 carries, 59 yards, no touchdowns, and Keenan Allen, 5 receptions for 44 yards and no touchdowns. Yeah, we did not score a touchdown this game. That is 2 straight games for the Bears without a touchdown, and the offense looked just abysmal. I know we were all actually at the game, and the Bears ended up losing 19-3 versus a team that we probably could have beat last year. We probably could have beat if we were playing this game during that hot streak when we went to London. But just the wheels just all fell off this week. We've been struggling, and it was just terrible this week.
Yeah, awful game. I mean, it was a fun time when we went, but yeah, I guess all three of us went, right? Yeah. Um, yeah, I'd like to hear what it was like doing the field passes with JMO. We didn't get to tailgate with him, but yeah, fun game, shit game, but hey, we move on.
Yeah, they're just disheartening loss. Really, I was pretty confident last week on the episode, talking them up. Hey, this is a bounce back game. 2-7 team coming into town. Sam, you mentioned the winning streak at home. I was excited. Yeah, KO, I got to go on the field a little bit beforehand, saw a couple players warming up. No one really came anywhere close. And it was much different than the first time I went out during the preseason game when some of the players actually came over. But it was good. Watched the game, had a weird feeling once I kind of sat down and watched the Patriots' first drive. And then we came out and it's just three and out, three and out. It's the same thing every time. And we'll get into the firing of the offensive coordinator, but reaction from the game, just total frustration and just sitting there third, fourth quarter, and that place is loud and people are booing and just a really bad scene there.
Caleb got sacked 9 times, and that was the second most in franchise history. When was the most, or who was the quarterback, and when was it who got sacked the most in franchise history?
Todd Collins,
That is not correct.
Jay
James,
Cutler.
Fields,
Justin Fields, when?
Oh, Browns, right?
Browns.
Yeah.
Just, I have been at the 2 possibly worst games in franchise
You
history.
were at that game? I was in
Yeah,
Cleveland.
it was in Cleveland. I went because it was Fields' first start, and
Oh, that was the worst debut
yeah,
start I don't think I've ever seen. Probably it was awful.
Jadavion and Miles Garrett just went at him. My dad and I had good seats, and it was, oh, that was an awful game. But this one was
Think,
terrible too.
yeah,
There's 9 sacks, as we said. The offensive line is look garbage. I would say I watched the breakdown. I think he got sacked, as we said, 9 times. I think 7 times was the offensive line's fault, and 2 of the times it was actually Caleb's fault. Um, I I assume it's our offensive line talent. It's not our offensive line coach. He can't really do much. But overall, the route running, I would say, and the routes play calling was terrible on offense, which, spoiler alert to nobody right now, um, Shane Waldron got fired after the game because you see replays of Caleb 3 seconds into his drop, and the players are still running down the field and all with all their backs turned to him. It's Waldron got fired. Incompetence, it seems like this year. He was called quiet, and it really puts into perspective JSN's comments this past year saying, when asked, "Hey, yeah, what do you think about Shane Waldron possibly coming to the Bears?" And he says, "Is this live?" I mean, good luck, but he's a good guy. That was pretty much quote. Like, no questioning about it. Just looked like he had no confidence in him, and the Bears for some reason did. I don't know who's hiring that was. I probably Poles and Eberflus came into the picture on that one, but
Flus, it was mostly Flus on that one.
yeah, it was
Oh.
bad. So I mean, those are my thoughts. It just the offense could not do anything. The place was booing, as James said. I left early. I think probably half the crowd or more left early. It was awful, just terrible. I want to hear your take, Hale.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, thank God Waldron's finally out. But yeah, I mean, just like you said, I mean, 9 sacks. I mean, inexcusable sacks too, where Caleb's. I mean, the game's over. We're down by what 16 points with under 2 minutes left, and Caleb's still on the field taking sacks 2 weeks in a row now. It's your franchise guy. Get him out of the game. I mean, there's just no need for him to keep taking hits. I mean, he's probably gotten hit damn near like 30 times in the last 2 weeks alone. It's insane. And these are bottom 5 pass rushes, both teams. Pats had 16 sacks altogether going into that game and 9 against the Bears. Uh, yeah, like you said, misusing the wideouts. I mean, the routes are terrible. Saw this tweet. This guy did a breakdown. And yeah, so 2023 DJ Moore had a career season, mostly, working as like the easy button in the offense and like easy completions where you could catch the ball and run, like yards after catch. He's one of the best yak wide receivers in the league. But this year they have him as the X wideout, which is, more like has to do with a lot of press coverage and like focusing on like getting release and separation. And it's harder. Like DJ's never been that type of guy. That should be Keenan doing that. And instead they have Keenan as the yak guy, the easy button, when he's like what 34 years old. He's not even fast enough to get any and find any open space or anything. Doesn't make any sense. So hopefully that changes. Um, yeah, and then like you said, I think a big thing. This is what was really driving me nuts. Is I think that Caleb's just being overcoached too, and I think it's a big thing of like what Eberflus like preaches is that he preaches on just playing conservative play and winning with the defense. Even though like we loaded up this offense trying to make it a legit offense, and he just wants to be conservative. So he's telling Caleb like that's why at the beginning of the year when Caleb, I don't know how many picks he had at the beginning of the year, but he was quite a few. And then during this 3 game stretch, is he thrown no picks or one pick this through this 3 game stretch? And that just shows me that like, and you see him missing on these guys, overthrowing receivers, throwing it too far, inaccurate. But none of them are even close to like he makes these throws all the time in college. I think it's Eberflus and Waldron in his ear saying, "Do not throw any picks." So he's like throwing it and like making sure the defender's nowhere near that ball, and it's just overthrowing guys. And then now, yeah, the O line's so bad; these guys can't get any separation. And now, I mean, we're ruining him. We're ruining Caleb. Like we saw with Bryce Young. Now he's come back and he's been better since he's come back the last 2 weeks. But like, I mean, he looks like he's seeing ghosts out there half the time. I mean, it's just something had to change. Hopefully Waldron getting out does something. But offense, I mean, you can't it's hard to be optimistic still about where we're at.
Yeah. And I'll interject really quick before I hear from James. It's again with the passing game, if that's not working like it wasn't like the first game of the year, you can't expect to have a healthy run game either. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of agree with you on the overcoach thing. He's getting told too much, being told stay in the pocket longer, don't stay in the pocket, probably made, don't throw this route, don't do that, don't just let him play. He's number
Yeah.
one pick for a reason. He was great in college.
We drafted this guy purely based off his talent. I
Yeah,
mean, what he showed, let him use it, you know?
exactly.
It's the same thing with Fields. It's the same thing we have to deal with Fields. I mean, it's literally Fields 2.0 what we're dealing with.
Yep. James.
Yeah, dude, this just sucks to talk about. I can't believe we're here. It's shocking, man. But I have a
Yeah.
couple stats. Here's one that was going back to the sacks. Bears have given up at least six sacks in back-to-back games for the first time since '93. They've given up 6+ sacks in 7 games under Eberflus. It happened only 3 times from 13 to 21 under Trestman, Fox, and Nagy. So that just, I mean, this regime is almost so focused on what could be points, but they seem to forget that you can't do that if you don't have protection. And ever since they've been here, our line has gotten worse and worse and worse. Yeah, they had the good run game with Getsy, but besides that one year, I mean, run game's pretty much middle of the pack this year. Passing game's in the lower half of the league as usual. So, but that stat's crazy, huh? 7 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, looking back, I mean, this is just the Bears organization being poorly run. I mean, McCaskey took over 2011. I'm looking at it right now. 2011, and his first big move was firing Lovey, who was 10-6 that year.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, they hired Phil Emery, and it's just been an absolute shit show since then. And you know, like constant different coach every 2 years, different OC every 2 years, different QB every 2 years. I mean, it's just been a mess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the talk of the office, or like one thing that was mentioned around my office. Like, yeah, I mean, it goes back to McCaskey at the end. He hired Lovey after a winning season. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Here's another one. No head coach has ever kept his job in Chicago after 3 straight losing seasons. 4 instances. Uh, One guy was a guy that we wouldn't really know. Dave Wannstedt, 96, 98. John Fox, 15 to 17. And now Eberflus is on his way because they are not. Guys, there's a chance we're in the top 5 of the draft. I'm not even like that's
I
not
know.
unrealistic.
Unless something there's no optimism. I think we're gonna get killed on Sunday, and then it's gonna be the same old the rest of the year. But what's so annoying is that because the schedule is structured like this, it could either be so good, or imagine if we actually win Sunday.
Exactly.
Then it's like we could. I mean, we play the division the next 5 games. I mean, if we win 2 or 3 of those, we're right back in it. It's like shit.
And then we're keeping
I don't want to get hope.
Eberflus. And then you're keeping Eberflus.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm worried about is that we win 9 games, miss the playoffs, and we get Eberflus back. It's fucking annoying. But yeah. And then we have Eberflus, like talked about. I think he's won 3 road games in his 3 years combined, and none of them on Sunday. 0-18 on the road on Sunday, which is just the most ridiculous stat I've ever heard. Insane. And I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but each week, he goes on an interview call with ESPN 1000 Chicago, and they just talk about where the team's at, what's the state of the team, state of the locker room, and all that. Thoughts, like recapping the game. And after last week was such a mess, the last 3 weeks were such a mess. His phone dies in the interview 3 times, cuts out, and he just just basically hung up on the interview. And it's like, while, I forget, like Tap or something the guy's name is. He was
Yeah.
like, just like, uh, you know, running Eberflus a new one, like about how the team has been so bad, and it's fun just cuts out. It's like this dude's just dodging interviews now. What the fuck?
He said, yeah, your cell connection's just as bad as the Bears offense right now.
Yeah, it's just insane.
Yeah. Speaking of ESPN 1000, we'll give a quick shout out to our other unofficial sponsor, Marisi Longo Associates. Thank you guys for your support all these years. Yeah, the just the Bears it's awful. There's got to be like a bromance going on between McCaskey, Poles, and Eberflus. Like, I just can't justify how he's still here.
I know there's really no justifying it, and I mean it's tough to hire a coach mid-season with a rookie QB, but like it's gotten to the point where you just have to. And if another loss like last week happens or the last 3 weeks happens, he has to be gone immediately. I mean, we just cannot have that. Like nobody's gonna want to play here. Nobody's gonna want to play here. Everybody's gonna want out. I mean, just
Mhm.
like we saw with Nate Davis got cut. I mean, the guy just basically faked an injury on Sunday morning. Like he's played what, like 12, 13 games for us, paying him $30 million, and because he can't stay on the field and the team's a mess, like he's just like, fuck it, I don't need to play,
Yeah.
whatever. And we're already super thin at O line. Caleb's getting drilled every play. Like, oh, this is
Mhm.
a mess.
Yeah, I think he told me he was practicing every single day last week, and then he like the Sunday game, he's like, "Yeah, I don't feel good."
Yeah, they called it a surprise back injury. The fuck?
The team's it has just a reputation. It
Yeah.
just sets up a precedence that the team is supposed to lose. The coaching staff sucks. It's like the A's, I would say, like not as bad. It's getting bad in
Oh,
Chicago. It's
it's just
precedence. If you come here,
yeah,
you'll lose. You
we're
won't.
laughing stock. We're a laughing stock.
Yeah.
And it's like it's rock bottom. This is the worst I've seen it for a Bears. Like the fact that we had this much optimism about the team, and like going into the season, I was just like in the back of my mind, I'm like, how can the Bears fuck this up? Like how can you mess this up? And like they found a way. They really found a way.
Vibes are tremendously low here at the Windy
Yeah.
City Windy City Wire podcast. The Waldron deck, I just changed the name. I don't want to hear any more Waldron anything.
Very true.
My gosh,
They
I
should
gotta get
change
rid of my
that.
parking pass now. Um, okay, a few more quick things I found on the internet about last game, then we'll move into some happenings throughout the week. Bears failed to score a touchdown on back-to-back games for the first time since 2004. I already said that, but it was, yes, first time since 2004. And Chad Hutchinson was the quarterback. Second most sacks allowed in a game. Bears have failed to convert more than once on third down while having at least 14 opportunities. They had 14 opportunities to get a third down. They had most false start penalties in the league so far this year. Or never mind, that was just in the leagues, 19 so far, and they've already had their bye week. And the Bears have the fourth best turnover ratio in the NFL, +8. They're tied with the Lions. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like during this terrible stretch, we haven't been turning the ball over, which is crazy. Just can't get a first down.
Yeah.
And another add the cherry on top, throw salt in the wound here. During this awful 3 game stretch, which is like the worst 3 game stretch I've ever experienced as a Bears fan. Uh, 2 of the games we lost were to rookie QBs that we drafted over, or we drafted Caleb over. Which I mean, I still want Caleb. Obviously, I still think he's got maybe Jaden Daniels. You could argue, obviously, you could argue, but I mean, no matter if you put either of those guys, Drake May or Jaden Daniels, and you put any QB, you put Pat Mahomes, and like this season itself just proves that they would be dog shit on the Bears. Like it doesn't, we ruin every QB. So, but I mean, I think they made the right pick. I don't think they didn't. Still think Caleb has immense talent, but yeah, just I mean, go on Twitter and it's so just adding salt to the wound. Like, oh, Caleb's a bust. He drafted the wrong QB again. It's like
Yeah, I can't take that. He's
so.
gonna be fine. He just needs to be put in a good system.
Yep.
I think we would all agree that same thing with Mitch and Justin Fields.
Oh yeah,
I like
and I
Caleb
think
more, but
yeah,
like,
Caleb. Yeah, I think Caleb has way more talent than them, way more upside than them. But yeah, we could have won with both those guys, especially Mitch. Our team, our offense that 2018 and 2019, all they had to do was not completely suck. They could have been like 20th in the league in points. They could have done all they had to do was just not be dead last, and that's exactly what they were.
Yeah, this offense, it's the same thing with this offense. And the difference between Mitch's offense, Justin's offense, and Caleb's offense is Caleb has the best weapons possible out of all of them. And he's not producing. He's not producing. He's not hitting guys who are open. And the accuracy issues need to be solved, need to be corrected. And this new Thomas Brown, maybe he simplifies things for him. Maybe he draws up something else. But from what I heard this week, this guy, Thomas Brown, was the passing game coordinator. Caleb said he hadn't really talked to this guy.
Yeah,
Like what is this? Is he's the passing game coordinator? You're the only one passing on the team. So we'll
yeah.
see what
I don't
happens.
even.
But
Sorry.
no, it's just it's just so dysfunctional. But at the same time, all that was promised, all the hype, all the expectations have blown up in their face. And I really hope they can salvage this somehow. 'Cause
Yeah,
they've
I have.
never done it before.
Sorry, I want to cut you off.
No, that's
Uh,
it.
but yeah. To be honest, I have no idea like what the passing game coordinator even does at this point. Like, I hear that a lot. I don't even know what they do. Like, I think it's just the OC, right? But uh, yeah. I mean, I think that is weird. I mean, it sucks. I mean, Caleb's in a terrible situation again. This guy's his new OC, and he hasn't talked to him all year. But I think they did that because you don't want him getting told different things from a
Sure.
bunch of different guys. You want just him to talk one on one with like one or two coaches as a rookie. But yeah, now he's got to deal with this. But yeah, the completions. I mean, I talked about how I think they were overcoaching him a lot of like, and he's
Yeah.
just you know purposely putting the ball like out of harm's way, but that's causing him to overthrow completions and stuff, and like avoid uh like overlooking guys that like in the NFL they are open, but like he's hesitant to throw them. And if you look at these games, I mean, if you look at the film of all these games, we haven't utilized the middle of the field at all. Like why? Those are the easy completions that you should be giving guys. Like if you pretty sure I saw
I saw that same
I think it
video.
was at yeah, well it wasn't a video, but you know how like they draw those charts up where they show like all where the passes went on the field. And if you compare Jaden Daniels hardly throws it to the sidelines, hardly throws it outside the hash, and he's like one of the most accurate passers they say this year, like in completion percentage this year, compared to Caleb, like over 70% of his throws are outside the hash. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
We don't use Komet. We haven't used the tight end. That should be Komet and Keenan Allen over the middle of the field. But
All right, James brought it up, and you guys both brought it up that Thomas Brown has been named the interim offensive coordinator. And I we'll get all our takes here. I think we have a few, maybe like 15, 20 minutes left. But quick hits from me. Travis Homer, I know we don't like to talk about him on this podcast, but he was actually he played for University of Miami, back when Thomas Brown was a quarterback, or like a coach there. And Travis Homer said it was awesome having him as a coach. He always talks to people about how Thomas Brown was one of the best coaches he's ever had. Um, like I want to see him prosper and see him flourish. He's really big on attention to detail. His attention to detail and the love of the passion for the game he has, he brings it into coaching. He used to be a good player at Georgia who was drafted. and he wants to bring that same energy back to the Bears and as a coach. And looking at his resume here, just look him up on Wiki. He's been at Georgia as a strength and conditioning coach, like at Chattanooga, Marshall, Wisconsin, Georgia, Miami again. South Carolina, Los Angeles Rams. He won a Super Bowl with the Sean McVay system as he was a running backs coach, assistant head coach and running backs coach, assistant head coach and tight ends coach, offense coordinator for a few games with the Panthers last year. And now he's the offensive coordinator for the Bears. I have confidence. I have confidence in this guy.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't have confidence. I don't know what you're talking about here.
Okay.
Sorry.
And
mean,
I like
it's
to have a
just-
differing opinion. We can't all agree on things.
I know, I get it. I get it. But I mean, yeah, he is. Yeah, I mean, he seems like a locker room guy, but like it's another guy that has basically no experience as an OC, jumping in mid-season with a rookie QB offense that's been dead, haven't scored a touchdown in 26 consecutive drives, worst O-line in football. What do we expect here? I mean, like a running backs coach converted OC. The fuck? We're
He's
fucked.
someone I want on my staff. Like
I,
that's
yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
at least if you want to do it, he should have been the guy this year from the start. It's just hard to expect anything to change drastically mid-season. Maybe you could get away with it for like one game because the defense that you're playing has like no film on what a new offense could look like. But I mean, after that, once defenses figure out your new scheme, you're fucked. I mean, you're fucked.
Okay, James, what do you think?
And then look at the team they're playing this week. So good luck.
Exactly.
Also, I'm almost positive this guy was interviewed originally for the offensive coordinator job. So it really would be something if this guy came in and performed well, because then if I was a member of the media, I would ask Ryan Poles, what is your process? What is your vetting process
Great
when
point. I thought you were
hiring
going somewhere else.
an offensive coach? What's your process?
I didn't know that he was interviewed
I didn't either.
I'm pretty sure he was. You could check me on it, but I thought I heard it this week, and I mean, my God.
Well, what pisses me off the most is that we didn't even interview Ben Johnson in the offseason.
They didn't
That's
even.
the worst. I mean, you look at that Lions team, like what does Jared Goff have like 20 incompletions the entire year or something? Like he makes it so easy. Makes it look so easy. That's the guy we should have as a head coach, not as an OC, but he'd be calling the plays. Eberflus should have been. In fact, we didn't even interview him, and he literally came out. Ben Johnson came out and said, I would have loved to have taken the head coaching job in Chicago, but they never interviewed me."
Poles was hiding this week, I feel. Was he?
Yes.
I didn't hear from him at all.
And that's weird because usually he does talk. Usually he is transparent. But now that this plan is blown up in his face, he's going silent because you had to have this kid. You had to put all your eggs in one basket. And now the basket has spilled and you're pretty much fucked. And look where we are. Back where we're always are. Bottom of the division. Horrible offense. Really good defense. Doesn't matter. Legit doesn't matter.
What I'm hoping is that the reason why he wasn't talking to media or something is that, like, in the back of his mind, he's like, if there's another shit show on Sunday, then Eberflus is going to be gone. He's going to fire Eberflus. Then, like, he doesn't want to, like, because the second if you start talking, like, they're just going to be asking about Eberflus. Like, well, obviously, we talk about Waldron, but, like, we're going to be saying, like, oh, Eberflus, like, what are you going to do with him? And all that shit. I don't know. Maybe. That's theory. But who knows?
He should be held accountable for like the interviewing and like
all 100%.
Yeah.
What was it? I saw this. I saw the number or something. But since Eberflus been here, he's like north of like 12 or something of coordinators have all been fired of Eberflus that he brought in. How crazy is that? All the coordinators from last year gone. All OC already in week 10 gone this year. week or year before that, everybody gone.
And
It's
then
like,
you see
look
guys
at the
like
guy who's in
Getsy getting
charge.
fired
Look at the
again.
guy who's in charge of the locker room. Why not fire him? The fuck? He's the one who's interviewing all these, bringing these guys in.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
You fire that guy, the guy who's bringing him in, which is Eberflus.
Yeah.
And then you fire the guy who's letting him bring him into the place, Poles.
Yep.
Yeah. It falls on a lot of people's shoulders right now. And somebody told me at the game, like, oh yeah, McCaskey's in the Waldron deck a lot, like high-fiving people. I'm like, did you like talk shit to him? Did you ask him what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Did you
I
ask him if he
don't get it.
cares?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you guys saw that picture that went viral of after Caleb got sacked like what 5 times in the first half last game or some shit. He's just on the bench like pissed off, like just after getting hit for I don't know 50, and then right next to him is Waldron laughing about shit to him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like what? You're supposed to be his like boss, dude. What are you doing?
It's terrible. I don't understand. I don't think anyone does.
It's just a mess.
Yeah, it's so bad. Well,
Yep.
any other thoughts on Thomas Brown, James?
No, I think we should get to this Tyson Bagent story and
Yeah.
also mention our safety who's out for the season.
Yes. Let's go to the Bagent thing really quick, because I mean it didn't come into fruition, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. So it all started with mentioned it earlier, ESPN 1000. They have a reporter, Sylvie. He reported he tweeted this after talking to a few people with knowledge of the situation. Players went to Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles asking them to make a change at offensive coordinator. There have also been a few veteran players requesting Bagent starts. So he tweeted that. Then today he was getting some slack. Cole Kmet said that didn't happen. A couple other players said that didn't happen. Then he said, Sylvie's on his radio, he said, this is someone just saying stuff. Sylvie says his report that some Bears veteran players asking for Tyson Bagent to play was not based on any conversation he had with Bagent's dad, Travis. So this is where this Reddit post comes into
Oh,
play.
I saw that, dude.
So I'll read this quick. I'll try to be quick here. Since Bagent has been here, this is from Reddit, some random person. Roll
You
of
have to
duct tape.
summarize that. It's a pretty long post.
It's pretty long. I'll just read it quick. Since Bagent has been here, his dad has created unnecessary drama, leaking nonsense to ESPN radio personalities who are not journalists. He did it last year. Same deal. Players wanted Bagent over Fields. Getsy wanted Bagent over Fields, and he did it again this year. Veterans want Bagent over Caleb. This time, Sylvie was sloppy and unintentionally revealed his source was Bagent's dad. The day before his tweet, he said Bagent's dad had interesting things to say, but didn't share it immediately. Then he tweeted the breaking news that everyone blamed DJ Moore for. The radio guys don't hide their relationship with Bagent's dad. This isn't a new thing. It's unfortunate that they report it despite it being proven BS every time. So then, this is the radio today. Someone says, Sylvie was strong in his defense, giving examples of times where he's broken stories and only put stuff out there when he's 1000% sure from the source and that he would never use the parent of a player as his source. I think it's crazy to say that he's making this up because if a dad of a backup quarterback came to you and said, "Hey, Bagent should be playing, huh? The veterans, yeah, right." Like you wouldn't take that to print, especially being a radio host like Sylvie, who's been in the city for so long, been doing his job great for years and years and years. Known ESPN 1000 is the radio show partnered with the Bears. You think he wants to tarnish that relationship? You think he doesn't want Caleb to succeed? Why would he make that up? So I
Yeah,
don't believe that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't believe it. I mean, that'd be great if that was true, and then like find out that if it was true, I feel like they would have got proven to be true. Uh, Bagent would be gone. Bagent would be gone, and that'd be his dad's fault.
Considering how
Actually trade
dysfunctional
him?
considering how dysfunctional this team is, I disagree, KO. And what do you expect Cole Kmet to say? Yeah, we want Bagent to play.
Well, about the talk, yeah, no, that's just crazy. I
We
don't
just
know
have
how
4 minutes left, guys.
I believe that, but talking about the players, yeah, that came out as like basically BS. They basically what they said pretty sure it was quote like uh based on like it was basically like looking out for Caleb because he's getting hit so much and like getting
Sure.
sacked so much. Like they're worried about like and the team's so bad right now.
That's
Just
what I heard.
yeah, like
It could be
but
taken either way. It could be taken, yeah, we're tired of him playing like shit, or we don't want him to get hurt behind this shit offensive line.
if
Waddle
if
and
if
Sylvie
they're
show,
if
you
they're
are big.
calling for a QB change on a rookie like that and a team that already has 5 wins, by the way, like just because of a 3 bad game stretch and like but that's your franchise QB, like
Well,
that's that's supposed
remember
your
now.
coach is supposed to step in and be
Remember what the locker room told
like
you last
this
year.
like get the locker room. What the Bajan shit again?
No, just remember how tight that locker room was and how there were whispers of potential civil war between getting rid of Justin Fields and drafting Caleb Williams and starting over for a team that was ready to compete, needed a few more weapons and help on the offensive line and didn't address it. And look, and now you're where you're at. So I wouldn't put it past a little bit of a divide in that locker room based on what they had last year and what's going on now.
No, there was no divide about the QB. It was just because they were getting asked about it mid-season. What are you gonna say? Oh yeah, like I want a new QB. I draft the new QB.
I agree with you.
Like when you have the same, there's been no divide on the situation. I mean, yeah, some guys like DJ probably preferred Fields because he had his best year ever with him, but like it's just the locker room has been torn apart because we drafted Caleb. They know it's a business. They're professionals. Like plus you wouldn't have been able to get you wouldn't have been able like we won't have as much money to work with because then Fields wasn't on a rookie deal or anything. So like you have to pay Fields. We made the right move with that. That's not even a
Yeah.
question.
All right. Well, that story's going under the rug, just like the Bears did. They pushed it under the rug. And now into stunning news that might be real or not, but it is true that Jaquan Brisker has had 3 concussions in 3 years with the Bears, and some reports that he may not play again. He's been out for 30 days. We got a minute left, guys. Give me some thoughts.
Well, I mean, those reports were our buddies hidden source from House also. I don't know to never play again. But yeah, he's out again. Clearly concussion does seem pretty bad. And yeah, he's had you said 3 he's had with the Bears?
3.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty bad. And yeah, I mean definitely gotta worry for the guy. I mean, if unless it's source that our buddy and it comes to fruition, whatever he said, then yeah, obviously he's done. But otherwise, when he does come back, if he gets one more concussion, his career's probably done. So
Yep. Sad.
we got a two situation on our hands for their safety. Plus, what worries me is, I mean, when he comes back, Brisker's known for being like a heavy hitter kind of guy. Would that change how he plays?
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah, it would. And last
Yeah.
thing, we saw his last game. We were there.
We did. Potential last game.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think he's done. I think he's done.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to the Windy City Wire podcast. It's been a great episode. Thanks for tuning in again, and we'll see you soon.